Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. Today we're going to be checking out a Patreon Picks, which is where one of my patrons tells me what they want me to check out, and I do it. No questions asked, no exceptions so far. And yeah, we've seen some really cool stuff through this little program right here. Today we're going to be checking out a request from Young Ghoul, who says I need to look at Sleep Paralysis by Brutality Will Prevail. So it's a bit of a weird track, but he's interested what I think of it. So I mean that's something, right? A weird track, but interested in what I think about it. Well, we've done weird this week with Genghis Tron. I don't think we can get much weirder than that. But let's see what Brutality Will Prevail has in store for us. Very somber, empty opening here. Not what I was thinking with a band called Brutality Will Prevail. Almost sounds like it's still just a single guitar. But I think those chords might be a second one. These late transitions are interesting. Really tense note combinations. The weird thing is that it's heavy. It has these tinges of sadness, but overall, the feel is optimistic. and it's called Sleep Paralysis.
Probably about 6'5", well over 6 foot, very tall. There was someone sitting on my chest, sitting on top of my chest.
The lady was old and haggard. She had straggly grey, kind of an old woman standing in front of me.
And there was an old lady.
This just was not a nightmare.
I know that I am awake when this happens.
Can't escape from this entity that has entered your room. It's a feeling of perhaps the greatest terror that one can imagine.
Whether you remember what happened to you when you died, just before you died and just after you died.
Alright, this is starting to come together for me. It is an intense listen though. Alright. Alright. I'm gonna let this one go just in case though. It's still fading out. So yeah, that is... I mean, that's an intense song. I don't really think there's any way around that. That is just a tense song. And alright, so we've actually had a song about sleep paralysis on the channel before. I wasn't really aware of it at the time, but we had the Mara Effect trilogy of from Spirit Box, and a lot of the comments told me that Mara. I think I'm remembering this right. Mara is like the sleep paralysis demon. The one of those uh, testimonies that happened in the middle of that song said that they woke up and had a shadowy figure sitting on their chest. That's, from what I understand, that's Mara. Mara's the demon that sits on you and keeps you from moving when you wake up but can't move your body. Um, so it's kind of cool. I can tie those parallels, and a lot of that's just thanks to you guys for hitting me up in the comments and letting me know, because that kind of information is just not something I've run into. So so that's kind of a cool little like line that I've drawn between some of the stuff we've checked out on the channel, and I will be checking out the Mara effect again, probably as soon as I close this video out, just so I can kind of see if there's any parallels in the music, because I don't really remember. I remember it was 3 parts, and one was heavier and one was softer. Um, but yeah, I'm just kind of curious if there's any musical parallels between these two explorations of the same concept. Now, moving on to Brutality Will Prevail and this specific piece, there's a lot of interesting ideas here that deal with theme and texture. This is not a song that's showing off any virtuosic playing. Virtuosic, is that a word? Any virtuoso playing. Um, this isn't a song that's showing off any sort of extreme music theory knowledge or anything like that. It is designed to create a soundscape, a feeling, an environment, an atmosphere, and I think it pulls it off very well. The beginning I mentioned was, there's a tinge of sadness to it, is what I called it. I think I still kind of want to sit on sadness, but in retrospect, I kind of want to put a little bit of horror or maybe like tension, anxiety alongside that sadness. But for the most part, it's not a super tense section, it's not a super depressing section. There's still a lot of upbeatness to the chords. I'm using real technical words here, upbeatness. There's still, some positivity to the chord selection. We got some good resolutions in there, and we have a lot of directing chords that kind of keep everything flowing forwards and building a little bit of tension and then releasing it. It's not anything sinister or depressing or completely anxious. It's not anything that we would hear specifically in a horror setting, like if it was a horror movie or something like that. I would say the opening minute or two is mostly positive. And I couldn't really place the importance of this until after we hit the second section, which was the testimony and spoken word section. And it dawned on me and kind of reminded me that the song is called Sleep Paralysis, and then they were very on the nose that it was about sleep paralysis. We had multiple testimonies about people who woke up and could not move their body, multiple testimonies about seeing the shadowy figure, about the Mara demon. And then it clicks. That opening section is the peaceful dreaming. Maybe the dream's getting a little weird. Maybe some things are a little unsettling, but for the most part, when we're remembering dreams, we remember the strong aspects. We remember that it was a good dream, or a bad dream, or a dream about anxiety. After the dream, when we've woken up, we really associate the strongest parts of it. But sometimes when we're dreaming, we can kind of feel that things aren't right, but I think because it's a dream world, we don't really notice it too much. I don't know. I don't remember my dreams very often, but I'm just kind of going on recollections of when I was younger, and maybe they were just more vivid, or maybe I just had a better memory for it. I don't know. But at least in my experience, um, sometimes you can kind of feel that things are a little off in the dream, but your brain knows it's in a dream for the most part, I think. Because nothing ever seems weird. Nothing, I don't think I've ever in a dream thought to myself, okay, this is not right. Even when you're like going to school and you're missing clothes or you're being chased by something that scares you or something like, a giant snake or something, you don't ever have that fear of this isn't right, this can't be reality. You just accept it at its face value. And I think a lot of that ties into the opening, where there's definitely something sinister on the rise, but it's really hard to tune into. The majority of the passage is fairly easy listening. There isn't really much tension going on, but it is there, and it's really hard to listen for, and it's really easy to kind of forget it's there. It's existing at all. And then we have the testimony with the people, telling about their experiences with the shadowy figure, and the music isn't doing anything. That section is specifically there to, in my eyes, to give credence. No, it's credit? Credit. I'm going to go with credit because I don't know what credence is. I don't know why I said that. Sounds like a cool word, though. I know it's a word. I just don't know what it means. To give credit to the existence of this demon. All right, it's to provide a repeated notion that this demon exists, that people have seen it, that it must be real. And I think it works well at introducing the outro, not necessarily the outro, the third part of the song. Because the third part, I think, really relies on an understanding, at least in the context of the song, that sleep paralysis is not a motor issue, that it's not a mental issue, that it is a otherworldly presence issue. It is supernatural. Um, Even if you don't believe that, and you believe it is just a physical or a mental issue, or your brain's not sending the right signals, or your muscles just aren't responding for whatever reason, I think the ending still has some power to it. But I think a lot of its strength as a section comes from narratively in the story of the song, the presence of this supernatural being. The music is mostly just there to provide a sound floor for those sound bites. And if I remember right, it's just like a guitar doing a simple riff and then the drums. I don't even remember if the drums were there. Um, but this is where the song really started to get tense for me. Not necessarily in the music for this section, but in the repeated notion of these people seeing these shadows, not just around them, not being cast by anything, but literally sitting on them. And there's definitely something a little terrifying to hear isolated incidents repeat similar situations that cannot exist. Like, it removes the bias of having heard it before, of being influenced by that. Obviously, not entirely. We're getting off topic into some psychology again. Let's get back to the music. Anyways, though, there's something really unsettling about hearing multiple recounts of personal experiences that are individual experiences that all have the same supernatural theme to them. And then, of course, after that, we have the alien demonic voice saying, I have no idea what. And the music starting to pull on some more darker tones to it. We're seeing some diminished chords. I want to say I might have heard something augmented, but just stuff with real tense or note combinations. Just getting real far away from major and even a little far away from minor. Minor has some tension to it, but it's more of a sad tension, and this is more of a discomfort. We're hearing a lot of dissonance between notes. And then it ends with the heavy, sinister section that there's definitely some fear, there's concern, there's uh, you know just something not right in that final passage. It's heavy, it's foreboding, it's weighing you down. The music has dropped tempo ridiculously. It's turned into basically this sludge of weight, which is the concept of this being sitting on you and holding you down while you're awake. And then the fear, not only of losing control of your body, but also experiencing something supernatural. And those two emotions combined is exactly what I feel in that final section. And I have no idea what that feels like. I've never experienced sleep paralysis, especially not any sort of supernatural type of sleep paralysis. And but I would assume that it must feel like it goes on forever. That is a situation that you would want to run away from and you can't. And I would imagine that every second feels like a minute, which is where the fade out comes in. It's sort of like an experience you can't get away from. You're done with it. You don't want to deal with this anymore, but it's not going away. And maybe even the fade out ties into the fact that it could happen again. Even when the sleep paralysis wears off and you can move again, you have to go to sleep sometime in the future. And if you've experienced sleep paralysis once, there's a high chance you're going to experience it again. So, yes, this is a very powerful thematic song that explores a single concept and kind of takes it from beginning to end. From going to sleep to waking up paralyzed. And I think it does a good job of that. And I think a lot of it, like I was saying, a lot of it is carried by the middle section. It doesn't add anything to the story of the song. Like I said, we have the beginning dreaming, and then we have the ending of the paralysis. That middle part's not part of the story of the song, but it does inform a lot of the emotions that come up in the end. And I think it allows the ideas of the track to be a little bit more blatant. I don't know if I would have picked up on this because, like I said, when they started talking about sleep paralysis, that's when it snapped for me. Oh yeah, this song's about sleep paralysis. Um, so maybe I might have picked it up by the end, but for a first time listen, kind of 50-50. And that middle part just made sure that I understood what was happening. So it was really there just to kind of provide a thesis statement. Um, and I think it was done well to put it in the middle and not the beginning. Because if you put it at the beginning, now you have expectations. But when you start with that mostly okay, but something on the edge is a little off, it leaves questions. What's going to happen? What is happening right now? Where is the music going? I don't think you would have got that if we had started with the testimonials. So it was a smart idea to put it in the middle there. I think it does well with the pacing and allows that sort of, uh, you know, inconclusive, not inconclusive, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, inconclusive works, but sort of like curiosity at the beginning for a first time listener. It's kind of, wonder what's going on. So, yeah, overall, fantastic song. Not something I'll probably listen to again. I don't know what my face looked like in that second half of the track, but I mean, I was getting, my heart started moving a little faster. Not because I was scared or anything, but it's just a really tense listen. And to hear all those, back to back testimonials and then the demonic singing, um, it definitely can evoke a reaction in the listener. So powerful stuff, not something I'm going to listen to again. But, I definitely appreciate that it's there. It brings it does a real good job of helping empathize with people who experience this. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Sleep Paralysis by Brutality Will Prevail. Again, with a name like that, Brutality Will Prevail, I was expecting some, death metal. And No, this was just a really nuanced take on something that people experience. So, yeah, props for subverting expectations right there. I don't know what the rest of their music is. I doubt that this is kind of their normal thing. First of all, Young Bull described it as an unusual track or a weird track, something like that. Um, and then it's just not something that you could easily make an album out of. So I'm going to wager that this is more of a one-off, sort of an exploration idea for them as a band, rather than something that they typically do. But I get to me that also, if that's true, that it kind of gives it more weight because it's like they could do something more standard, but then when the chips are down, they got this kind of stuff up their sleeve. So, yeah, that's really, I mean, the song itself, without knowing what the rest of the band's discography is like, it's impressive already. So, yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this one, though. It's a tough listen. It's a tough listen. You can let me know down in the comments, though, what you experienced while listening to it, if you enjoyed it or not. It's kind of a weird thing to say. Did you enjoy a song about sympathizing or empathizing with sleep paralysis victims? That's a weird way to word that. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Above the comment section is some buttons that you might want to press for liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell. All three of those things help out the channel immensely. And in the description box under that, I think it's under that, there's some links to my Twitter and my Patreon. You can click those if either of those interest you. And finally, I will be back not tomorrow, but Sunday with. Tomorrow is Sunday. I will be back not tomorrow, but Monday with next week's theme of drum cam stuff. I'm excited about it, but I am a little out of my depth, so we're going to see what happens there. I don't know how much I'll be able to talk about it in like the post reaction bit, but I'll probably be pretty impressed. Drumming is one of those things that I'm not great at. It's more of just that multitasking. I can do two things, maybe three things, but some of these guys are doing four limb things, like four rim drum fills with different meters on each limb, and nope, ain't gonna happen for me. So it's impressive just because it's something I can't do. I've tried, I've practiced, it's just not in my skill set. So I'm always impressed by drummers. They just phenomenal physical musicianship and mental. Just the cool thing is some of these guys are just gut. I think their brains just turn off completely and it's just natural for them to do this complex rhythmic stuff. Anyways, so that starts Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC. And yeah, that's it. All right. So if you guys want to check that out, like I said, that'll be on Monday. Otherwise, you have a fantastic afternoon, morning, evening, sunrise, sunset, dawn, or dusk, whenever you choose to watch my videos. And stay safe out there, guys.